Hello everyone, and welcome back once again to Off. We may have finished things in a manner I found satisfying last time, ultimately as the player choosing to side with the judge over the batter, as it became clear just how deep our delusion ran. But that doesn't mean there's not more to see. We have to see what happens if we side with the batter, and there's a secret ending that we did all the work to earn, so we might as well get it, right? I've been away from this for a little while, but curiosity has once more brought me back, as this definitely feels like the kind of game which doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense while you're playing. Even the fairly bare-bones plot is always feeling like there's something wrong with it, hence the title. And something else I was thinking about, we were trying to reach a switch, and were ultimately prevented. An off switch, some might say? An off switch on the whole universe. Oh, let's continue. Now, what was the last one? Wow, it's been like 3 weeks since I played. We're looking at 9:47. Let's go take on the judge. Wow, Furious did not help you there. This happened in the last fight, and I wonder if you don't actually have something about you that causes our Furious to only ever attack you. Here we are. Stop right there, imposter. To think that I had placed in you the blindest confidence, the firmest hope, the frankest belief. We can well say that I have erred to the bone. But the one who truly betrayed us sits beyond the eye of the cat. What have you done, Chris? Is the opaque mist of the narrative really your excuse for killing woman and child? You have not purified this place. You have destroyed, eradicated it. You have plunged it into a sterile nothingness. It wasn't until the end of this that I realized just how much Undertale, and particularly the genocide run, took from this. It's better like that. Which is why it's so cool that Toby Fox was later able to collaborate. I erred in ever lending you my paw. The moment the curtain rose, I should have detected the black flame that consumes your soul. Chris, join me. Atone for the sins we have committed by preventing this monster from completing his work. Don't do that. I require your help to purify this world. Now is the time to render your final, worthless verdict. Because in the end, we can stop the batter, but we can't stop what's already been done, what we've already done. That's what's so interesting about the judge's ending, and it is the one I chose. I do consider it my canon ending. But a game like this that's meant to be so subversive of genre tropes and even of medium tropes, it all comes together in the ending. And here it makes it clear that choosing to do the right thing in the end is better than not doing so. But it's very arguable whether it matters, at least to anyone else. Okay, so this time we're going with the batter, the official ending. Too bad for you, Chris. You will die in control of your malevolent marionette. It's time to bid farewell to what little remains of your existence. Okay. So once more, we're going to... Do you count as a beast? I'm assuming you count as a beast. Somebody's going to use Eye on you. But first, we're going to run with Grace. 137. Alpha. Best thing for you is probably going to be to... You have the ability to inflict palsy and stop that incoming attack. Oh, wait, you're still able to do it. Alright, Omega. You use a random element. Let's find out what you're good for. Smoke did pretty well. Epsilon, you're gonna use the Eye. The Judge, Pablo. Feline Avenger. Unable to detect type, no weakness. Alright, batter. Run of Faith. You're a whatever. Alpha. You know what? If we're not going to be able to stop your attacks, just go ahead and poison. Just keep that damage coming. See how you like it. You actually hit pretty well with poison these days. And one of the more interesting things about this is how it's clearly not meant to be difficult, the last chain of bosses. In fact, we've already got your health like halfway down. It just feels like a battle for the soul of not only the world, but yourself. Mastic did okay. Epsilon. Why don't you increase the batter's attack? That's what I always do. And batter. Go ahead and run with faith. That was much easier than the judge's ending. It's over. Escaping from your purpose is impossible. And there's nothing more to do. Look, we definitely had some ideas about what's actually going on here, because even though you could interpret the story literally, it definitely seems like we are a father with some sort of mental illness who was split from his wife who took the baby, and he eventually decided to come back and purify them, in this case, kill them for what he believes are merciful reasons. Of course, they don't see it that way. From their perspective, they're protecting themselves from a lunatic, which they are. The switch is currently on. So when we flip the switch, logically it would be... The switch is now off. And here's the song we can't play over the credits. But we can watch, and, well, I can at least try and commentate to see how it differs from the original. Alias Conrad Coldwood. But okay, you know, actually, in the end, we saw the judge walking through the remains of the purified world, I guess with the hope that maybe something could be reborn out of it. But in this case, we really have turned it off. There's nothing to come out of it. So it only makes sense that there wouldn't actually be a cutscene for the batter. In fact, being such a zealot, it's almost like the batter isn't really a person at all, where the judge is able to walk sadly through the remains. Someone who is utterly incapable of seeing all the hints and roadblocks and outright statements that should deter him. Zealotry is definitely a big theme in this, the ability to deny what your eyes and ears are seeing and only be single-minded in a particular goal, to never doubt yourself. You can almost say it's comparing the gamer mindset to that of a zealot. Somebody who just accepts what they're told to do at face value, does it to the utmost of their ability, and never actually questions anything that's in front of them. I mean, there are so many movies where people like to make the argument that the protagonist is actually the villain. And, you know, it's true across all media. We tend to identify with whoever the camera is following, but it only takes a small change in perspective to completely flip that. When you start analyzing these things critically, well, you find that a lot of stories aren't the story you thought they were. And in an interactive medium, that lands much more. That's why I think that games are so much better at actually examining that. Because a twist like that, when the audience really starts to get it, will land when you can actually look back on your own actions and say, wow, I was doing that. I was fooled. Or not even that I was fooled, just I believed without question. And I do wonder if there's actually a difference there. It feels like there is, but I'm not so sure now that I think about it. Pillar art has been found, woman and child. Wait, let's find out. Is that the same as what we had? A second. No, it's the same. We get the same one for either ending. Which means we've just got to get the other now. Now, the final ending is what's actually referred to as the true ending. And it sort of confused me last time because I was thinking, okay, we've got to take all of these different elemental objects that we found and give them to Zachary. That was what I had read, but he won't take them here. Turns out what we actually need to do is return to World 0 and see him. So let's return to the nothingness. It's also very interesting, the implications of the boss Carnival, because unlike everybody else, he doesn't inhabit a zone. He just kind of appears in the universe, or rather, seems to come from outside of it. I don't know, maybe you could almost see them as a representation of the developer, considering Carnival's whole thing was wanting to keep the show going for as long as possible. It was more annoying when Cobb did it. You have the 5 elements? If you'd like, I'll exchange them for an incredibly rare item. Okie dokie. I'll let you choose. I have the Ashley Bat, this game's ultimate offensive item, or the Ares card, which is, although I have no idea what good it's for, completely unique as well. And this time we are taking the Ares card. So, you choose the Ares card? Yes. Haha, splendid. Here's your new treasure. Use it wisely. And take this, as thanks for your continued patronage. And we retrieve Dearest Friends. Now I have to go look up what I do with this. From here, I'm told we just beat the game like normal, and something different will happen. You know, I went with the Judge because it's just an easier fight. But it is worth noting, and some of you pointed this out in the comments, that Sugar does actually refer to us as a ducky, or at least mentions a ducky in her fight, so I don't know, it implies that it wasn't a form that we took that we saw to fight the Judge. It's actually how we've always been, how everyone has always seen us. Which makes it kind of hilarious that the reason we couldn't get into the gated community was because we didn't have a tie. Still, once more, this is another example of how, in this game, the mechanics tell the story, and are used not necessarily to pace themselves with how you would expect a game to flow, but with how it wants you to feel in a given moment. The Judge is almost powerless without the help of the player, while the batter is actually fairly strong on their own, although their add-ons do seemingly abandon them. But still, the Judge is ready to fight. I mean, in some ways, as dedicated as the batter, but with a clear understanding of what they're fighting for. Okay, so do I hit the switch? Yes. Have I done it correctly? Okay. You have the Ares card. You have unlocked the game's true ending. Now we're really gonna get to the bottom of it. Meanwhile, in a parallel dimension, Ratatam, Ratatam, Ratatam! We are the Space Apes! Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't see this coming. It's all gone exactly according to plan. Now that the world is completely white thanks to Chris— Whoa, 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 I am not like that. Hang on, you're putting words in my mouth here. We can finally build our giant evil robot factory. Then we'll be able to defeat our eternal nemesis, the flying brains from planet Orus. Ha ha ha! And just like that, we've 100%ed off. Good going, and once more, thanks you guys for pushing me to play a game that I probably otherwise wouldn't have played, and definitely wouldn't have gotten such a crucial part of gaming history that somehow I had never heard of until you guys talked about it while I was playing Yumi Nikki. I had kind of had this wishlisted ever since you recommended it to me then, and I'm really glad I played it. Because much like Yumi Nikki, this is one of those things where I think I'm going to be seeing little pieces of it everywhere I look from now on. And if you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. If you have any ideas for other videos you think I should do, the best place to suggest that will be at the Discord, which I will link in the description. If you want to try this game out for yourself, that link will also be in the description. If you want to support me on Patreon, that link will be in the description. And as always, I will see you in the next one.